everyone, Joe here. Well, today I thought I'd do a gear review of the Canon BG-E14 battery grip. Now, this review is going to be a little bit different because everybody knows, hey, the battery grips are fantastic. Really, what can you say? So what I thought I'd do is actually compare it to the generic one. Because the biggest question most people get when they go to buy them and they look at the price tag on this and they go, whoo! Then they look at the generic ones like, I can afford the generic one. Is why would you buy this one when other ones like this one are offered at a much cheaper price? Well, that's what I thought I'd do. I thought I'd kind of go over this one while comparing it to this one to give you a better idea of what, the audience, a better idea of which one you may want to go with. Because, like I said, I have both. I've used both, and both work great. So, which one is right for you? Well, let's find out. Okay, let me first take the little protective caps off the top here. And let's first start talking, I guess, about the obvious differences, just looking at, the looks of them. Okay, let me get a camera here. Okay, we can first tell by looking at the Canon one here that the texture and stuff, and there's more of a matte finish. And let's take a look at the other one over here. Now we can tell this one's a little bit more semi-gloss than it is matte, and the texture on the rubber grip here is a little bit different as well. Now, the difference between the texture as far as feeling, the Canon one feels like the grip on your Canon 70 or 80D, while the grip here on the generic one here feels more rubbery. Yeah, it doesn't really feel as, I guess, as durable of a texture. It's like a softer rubber. It may not be necessarily a bad thing. You may actually like it. To me, it just feels kind of cheaper. Okay, so then let's take another obvious difference here. Now that we got these here, the Canon one actually feels heavier, and that may be a good thing, may be a down thing for you. How much heavier is the Canon one? Well, if you stuck the batteries in the generic one here, then that's how much the Canon one weighs, feels like it weighs without batteries. So the Canon one is obviously, heavier. Okay. So let me get my 70D out here and pull the battery door off of it. Now here's another thing that's really different about the battery grips. The generic ones have this little type of clip holder here, as we can see on the top camera, and they normally just fit in like this right here. Let me see, I can get it to fit just right. There we go. As you can see, that works. No real big issue there. It's not the most professional way, but hey, if it works, it works. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's not too bad. But here's how the Canon one actually does it. So the Canon one actually snaps on, like that. So if you're used to, and like that better, then well, that may be something for you. And it comes back off just the same. Okay, now we're talking about obviously differences on them. Now we have the AAA trays. Now, not AAA, but AA battery trays. Now, most people will never use these, and you're probably wondering what these for anyway. Well, if you go into like cold weather, there's a good chance your Canon batteries, most people kind of keep them on the inside pocket inside their jackets. But if they do happen to fail, normally AA batteries seem to hold up a little bit better. You don't get as many shots, but at least the battery will work. Or if you just completely run out, then this option is, here. It's not going to give you a whole lot of shots, but it will. So what's the really difference here? Let me keep these on the camera here. Now, as you can see, the Canon one here, as you'll notice, has these little ridges. Well, they're rubberized. Whereas the generic one here doesn't have any rubberized ridges. Does this really make it any better or worse? Well, probably not. But, as you can tell, it looks like the Canon one has either copper or gold plating. It's probably copper, just very shiny because first time I've had it out of the plastic or bag in a while. And we see all the ones on the generic one here are just standard nickel plating. Nothing really special about it. So, will that really change the performance? More likely not. But it is an obvious difference if you're looking for a higher quality product. obviously the tray on the Canon one is higher quality. Okay, so now we talked about the batteries. Here's the tray, the bag the generic one stored in, which is what it came in. And here's the bag the Canon one stored in. It actually has Canon on it, and this came with it. So now actually the AA tray actually came in the grip when you buy it, and this one had the actual LPE6 batteries tray in it, which is what the other one did too. So you actually get a little nice little carrying case bag. Okay. So that's the obvious external differences. Let's talk about the internals here. Okay, let me open this up. Take the trays out, so both of them, since we're comparing trays. And now we can tell there's really not much difference on the trays other than the Canon one having Canon written on it. As you can see here, they look very similar. Not a really whole lot here. It looks like the same company possibly could have made both of these, maybe. Or somebody did a really good job cloning the other. And we see here, other than texture difference, there isn't nothing really huge here. Now, the Canon one does have probably, there is not really much difference. The tray holders here are the same, nickel plated. Canon one's shaped a little different. And they both look like they use good copper or gold connectors. More copper, I think. Okay, so that's the trays. Not much difference on the trays at all. Now here's something that most people probably don't realize, and this is one of the bigger differences. I mentioned the Canon one did in fact weigh more. So let me see if I can't look this in here, and I'm not sure if you can actually see it on the camera. If not, I'll take photos and put those on, overlay those instead here. The Canon one actually has more metal on the inside. A lot more metal. Now, on the inside here, at the bottom of this tray, there is actual metal. This one's happened to be painted black on the inside, so it's not as noticeable. However, on the sides and the top, there's no metal. It's all plastic. Now, the Canon one here, if we can see it, like I said, I'll upload photos into video in case you can't. You can see there's aluminum down here at the bottom. There's aluminum on the sides, aluminum on the top. There's aluminum, it's fully metal on the inside, which is why it weighs more. Including the little retainer, I guess, that holds the 1/4-inch tripod mount, is plastic. You can see it white on the inside of this one, possibly. Yeah, you can see it on the camera. Whereas this one, you can see in there, it is metal as well. And one more thing I noticed was the turn thing here, the tighten it. This one feels really cheap on the generic one, which honestly, you probably shouldn't be turning it a whole lot all the time anyway. Normally people put them on, they leave them on for the most part, maybe take them off once a year or so. But the one on the Canon one does feel and looks more professional and feels much higher quality. So that's all the build quality differences, but let's talk about the buttons. Because the buttons are probably where some people are going to notice difference and probably complain more. The Canon buttons are like the aperture dial here or the rotating dial, whichever function you assign to it, does have rubberized on it. Whereas the generic one here, well, if I found it, yeah, feels like what it is, cheap plastic, no big deal. Down the shutter switch on the generic one here, I've never had a problem with. Feels great, fantastic. Man, for what it is, it works. And all the other buttons feel, functional. Nothing really wrong with them. But the ones on the Canon here, you feel just a little bit better quality. Now, I'm not saying that because it's the actual Canon one. It's just because, well, they do feel better quality. Everything, all the buttons do feel a little bit better. Including the switch here. You can feel it here, it sounds more tactile. And the switch on the other one, a little bit softer. So, there we go. The Canon one obviously is higher quality. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. It feels better in the hand than the other one does, but that's a personal preference. It is built better. That's obviously, looking at all of it, everything on the inside, it is built much nicer. However, when you look at the generic ones, they normally go for about $40. Canon one normally goes for about $170. So is the Canon one worth it? Well, that's up to you. But I'll link both of these down there in case anybody's interested. The generic one, you know, I bought it, it said newer, but it's got Vocaling on the back. Now, I'm not saying this one's bad whatsoever. It's worked great for many, many years. Have no problem with it. And I'm sure most people will. But if you're looking for one that really feels like it's part of your camera and not an add-on to your camera, then consider the Canon one. So anyway, that's it for this review. I like it. I recommend it. It's starting to rain, so I have to cancel the review now. But anyway, that's it for this review. If you like this video, find it helpful, how about giving me a thumbs up? Thumbs up is always highly appreciated. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, you know, take time to subscribe. Subscribing's free. It's for you. I'll let you know when I release more videos. Until next time, everyone, thank you for watching.